Hello and welcome. Do you have a pile of scraps like this? A chaotic mess? Or is yours neatly organized? Well, either way, today in our quilting quickie, where we talk about quilting in 3 minutes or less, we're going to talk about the difference between some of the scrap quilts, which the two we're going to talk about today are Crumb Quilt and Crazy Quilt. So time is short. So let's get started. Just create with fabric and floss. Crazy Quilt and Crumb Quilt are both types of quilts. A lot of people get them confused or use them interchangeably, but they do have distinct characteristics and techniques. So let's talk about those. The first one we're going to talk about is Crazy Quilt. A crazy quilt is a type of quilt that has become popular in the late 19th century. It is known for its irregular shapes, asymmetrical designs, and the use of a wide variety of fabric. The name crazy, which we all as quilters know we are, refers to the seemingly chaotic arrangements of fabric, often in odd shapes and sizes. Here are some key features of a crazy quilt. The first is fabric. Crazy quilts are typically made from small scraps of pieces such as silk, velvet, satin, your cotton. You can add some tulle, decorative tulle, some denim, fleece, flannel. I even have partial bandana. These fabrics are often embellished with embroidery, lace, or applique to enhance their visual appeal. Crazy quilts are characterized by their patchwork construction, where fabric pieces are sewn together seemingly randomly manner. The design usually lacks a repeating pattern and can include irregular shapes like triangles, diamonds, or hexagons. That's why I don't throw any of my scraps away, no matter what size, shape, dimension it is. Then you also have the embellishment. Crazy quilts often feature elaborate embellishments like embroidery stitches, beads, buttons, ribbons, and other decorative elements. These embellishments are used to accentuate the seams and fabric pieces, adding texture and visual interest to the quilt. Now, let's talk about the crumb quilt. A crumb quilt, on the other hand, is a type of quilt that uses tiny scraps of fabric, which are often referred to as crumbs. It is a modern quilting technique that emerged in recent years. And here are some characteristics of a crumb quilt. So even just small pieces like this would be what you would use for your crumb quilt. Crumb quilts are made using very small scraps that would typically be considered too small for other quilting projects. These fabric crumbs can come from various sources, such as leftover quilt trimmings, the little pieces that we cut off after we quilt our quilts. They can also come from the salvage edge. A lot of people save the salvage off of their fabric, and you can use them, and scraps from other sewing projects. For the construction of the crumb quilt, the fabric crumbs are sewn together to create a large fabric piece. These pieces are then arranged and sewn together to form the quilt top. The seams between the fabric crumbs are often intentionally left exposed, creating a texture and a dynamic appearance. Improv design for crumb quilts embraces a sense of improvisation, as there are no specific rules or patterns to follow. Ain't that great? The quilter can experiment with arranging the fabric crumbs in different ways to achieve a unique and personalized design. Perfect for us that don't like to follow rules. Overall, the main difference between a crazy quilt and a crumb quilt lies in their historical content, design approach, and the size of fabric scraps used. While a crazy quilt features larger fabric placed pieces arranged in an irregular manner with elaborate embellishments, and a crumb quilt utilizes tiny fabric scraps and emphasizes improvisation in design, often leaving exposed seams for added texture. So I hope now that you know the difference between a crumb quilt and a crazy quilt. For our next series, that we are going to be making a crazy quilt. So I hope you join me for that by hitting the subscribe button so you know when I upload those videos. If you feel I deserved a like, please like this and share with your quilting friends. Until then, happy quilting, my friends.